Welcome to our vision for carbon-driven future in urban regeneration through landscape design. Why this topic?
Because landscape architects can no longer ignore the carbon crisis, cities must be evolved sustainably.
But the global carbon crisis is serious. The carbon emission from the industrialization and urbanization have raised global temperatures and intensifying the climate impact worldwide. And changing land uses, especially in post-industry era, significantly drive up the emission and overlooked but critical factors.
We've entered the stage of the urban renewal, yet achieving the carbon neutrality and net zero community intensified pressure. This global mapping shows how significantly Australia contributes through the land use change. So the big challenge is how can urban regeneration shift from high carbon burden to new carbon solution? As landscape architects, we must design with carbon. It's not optional, it's our responsibility for the future net zero goal. At the start, we need to build the framework for action. We started by analyzing the carbon context, identifying the hotspots, and creating design principles to reduce emission and enhance sequestration through responsive landscape. After a global carbon audit, we found the location ideal for carbon-driven design. It's Australia's largest urban regeneration project with a clear net zero carbon community goal, Fisherman's Bend. The land use transition shows the carbon footprint change, and it has shifted from the carbon-absorbing wetland to emission-heavy industrial land. To meet a net zero target, we must design with carbon from now. Location analysis show Lorimer has 0 open space per person and the lowest biological carbon potential. It was once wetland, but now it's industrial concrete center. Yet it's slated to host over 10,000 people, so new open spaces are urgent to build. Site analysis shows Lorimer Central Open Space holds both greatest emission risk and the highest potential. Degraded soil and lack of vegetation make it a priority for carbon-positive transformation. Other priority is government support. It planned to build the site to become the community center and ecological center open space in the Lorimer. But now the hardscape space is waste and unused. The existing site is about 1.3 hectare with less than 10% green cover, mostly sparse vegetation. How can we redesign the hardscape and transform this space to boost carbon sinks and community value to achieve the net zero vision? So we can build our design principles. The core is design with carbon, and we need to increase the sinks, cut emissions, and engage the community. We will weave past ecologies, industrial memory, and future vision into a layered landscape. But how can these carbon-driven principles guide our design response? First, we need to begin with a carbon audit and performance test. The method to audit the carbon is to analyze the demolition and retention. Scenario 1 shows if we demolish all the building, it will emit over 6,000 tons of carbon. It takes over 100 years to be carbon neutrality. But if we use the scenario 2 retain all the building, it will achieve the neutrality in just 12 years. So LID and lowest design we should obey. To maximize the carbon benefit, we retain more, demolish less, and reuse materials to reduce waste. Then our special strategies come out. Retain 90% of the building and demolish 80% of the paving for open space design. Demolition materials are reused for green infrastructure and soil remediation. The landscape is narrated in 3 layers: historical, wetland, industrial relics, and future rooftop.
As you can see, the community integration in the design response is to design invite high-density mixed-use community life, so it will be the multifunctional space in building and fully open to the community. And green mobility, inclusive open spaces will encourage the participation, and it will reduce the carbon emission by green traffic, and the carbon point system encourage green activities.
As sunlight solar design, shadow studies show rooftop and south-facing zones suit solar take. We design with a green roof and vertical PV green walls, light side for energy and shade side for climbing plant. It will reduce huge carbon by energy saving. As for water recycle energy saving special design, we built the rainwater harvesting aligned with central catchment zones. Blue-green systems store, filter, and reuse runoff, cutting emission and boosting ecology functions. As a passive cooling and wind corridor design, seasonal wind and site layout form wind corridors. We align green strips and wetland to optimize summer cooling and add winter windbreak in the northwest.
As for the final multi-layered ecosystem design, it will build the central wetland to bioswales and perimeter windbreaks, and build greenification form a net of the carbon sinks. It will capture the emission like the living filter.
It shows after green system build, it will sequester over 700 tons instantly, 59 tons annually. With reused demolition carbon, we hit net zero the first year, plus 100 tons in surplus.
From the wasteland to the carbon hub, the site becomes a carbon positive open space. Through the special transformation, it evolves from emitter to sequester led by design. We visualize the shift from the concrete pressure to carbon positive paradise. The project proves regeneration can lead sustainability. And our design outcomes, we can say, is high diversity green system maximize the sequestration, lowest development and energy strategies cut emission by 80%, green mobility and carbon storytelling, build the identity of the site and encourage the participation of the community.
If we look at the core green space reed swamp design, we can say the strategies like the post-demolition carbon we used to restore and remediate the soil, and how we choose our plant. We need to obey the rule about resilient, native, and low maintenance species to obey the low carbon rule. And wetland clean and recycle water sustainability should be considered because every system we build is to achieve the low carbon goal.
Then we can imagine exploring a green forest, reliving the history of the wetland, witnessing the seasonal waterscapes, and experiencing the future in the solar building, a vision of a sustainable city.